people who endanger the player. Written 8 people to kill, they started to attack. Jinwoo was thrown. Your genie kept pondering, why is the hunter world like this? Nothing is as fun as he often does. He thought again that if they were to stay alive there would be many hunters who would become the next victims. Jinwook got up and tried to talk to them, but they were still stubborn. Someone almost approached and belittled him. Jinwook, who couldn't bear to remember what they had done, immediately started the attack. One person was finished off, and they all panicked with Jinwook's swift attack invisible. Doubts returned to Jinwook whether the path he had chosen was correct to kill humans. But this is the reality he has to face. If he doesn't kill, then Jinwook will be killed. One of these annoying hunter magic then attacked with his fire magic. But his speed is not comparable to Jinwook. 2 people have been finished. Jinwook was beaten up, but no one could match his speed. Jinwook finished off another hunter with his knife. He showed the effect of the knife. Skill bleed activated. Skill paralysis also activated. Hwang Doksu was stunned to see all this. 7 of his members were killed in the blink of an eye, and now only he was left. Hwang Doksu did not accept that his members were killed. Then he used all his abilities, but Jinwook was able to fight back easily. At the end of his death, Doksu asked Jinwoo for mercy and said he would give money and crystal stones in abundance as long as they didn't kill him. You will also get in big trouble if you know who my sister is. Of course, Jinwook was not consumed by his cunning mouth. With the blink of an eye, his head left his body, and the message from the system popped up. Mission accomplished, reward had been awarded. This time he got recovery, more points, and a new skill, Bloodlust. This skill can release energy in the body and make the target afraid. Jinho was very shocked to see what happened. Jinwook said, we have to go. This dungeon will be closed forever. Jinwoo's financial condition began to improve. He sold all the mana stones he got yesterday and had a meal with his sister at home. Message from the system appears again. Jinwook gets a new skill. This skill will automatically neutralize the poison in his body. Jinwook then tried to drink the venom monster item that he got a few days ago. And unexpectedly, the new effect can quickly neutralize the poison in his body and regenerate his body. At a cafe, Jinho wants to meet Jinwook, so they meet there. Jinho thanks him very much for saving his life. Jinho also said he wanted to form Hunter's Guild and invited him to join. Jinwook refuses, but Jaihu asks him to hear his explanation first. Jinho said only 19 raid, because the requirement to form a guild is at least 20 raids. 1 raid has done yesterday, leaving only 19 more. Jinho will also give a large share to Jinwook and promises to keep his strength a secret if that is Jinwook's will. Jinho didn't just want to form a guild, he wanted to help his father because his father wanted to have Hunter's Guild. Later this guild will recruit S-rank hunters as leaders. Jinho's father did all this because there was a promising business in the hunter world. Jinwook then said what benefits would he receive if he joined. Jinho then gave him a contract letter which surprised Jinwook. He will earn $300,000 just by doing 19 raids. Jinwook certainly didn't refuse, but not solely because of money, because he wanted to continue to raise his fighting level if he continued to fight in the dungeon. Jinwook has a condition so that only the 2 of us enter the dungeon later and we don't need other people. We can hire other hunters for the conditions from the guild of at least 10 hunters to raid. The remaining hunters only needed to wait outside until Jinwook and Jinho came back, and they finally reached an agreement to form a guild. This mysterious system always gives Jinwook orders to continue to train physically. Now everything feels easy for him, even Jinwook exceeds the limit that must be done. On the other hand, without Jinwook realizing it, the news of Dong-suk's death spread widely and reached the ears of his younger brother Dong-suk, who lives in America. He is a scary rank S hunter named Hwang Dong-so. Dong-so has now gotten data from Jinwook and Jinho, who are the 2 survivors of the accident. He doesn't believe Dong-suk can die so easily. Dong-su thinks these 2 people have framed his brother, and he intends to return to Korea to kill them. The news of Dong-su's death was also heard by the Korean Hunter Investigation Union. Yoo Jin-chul, who acted as deputy chairman, felt that this would be serious, because Dong-su will not stay silent when his brother dies. He didn't think too much about Jinwook and Jinho because they just got lucky from an accident in the raid. On the other hand, Jinwook, who continued to practice, again got the instant dungeon key thanks to the extra portion that Jinwook gave to his daily missions. This time the key was red, which was a class S item. Without thinking, Jinwook went straight to the location, and a bigger gate appeared. He entered it and thought he had to be more careful because he knew this was a rank S dungeon. You could say it was a rank dungeon. This is the most difficult story because this case happened on Jeju Island, where an S-rank gate was once opened. The place instantly became a desert that no human could live in. Even if an S-rank hunter group formed a team could not finish it, and until now the condition of Jeju Island is still like that. Inside the dungeon this time it looked like a city on fire with the fire still burning. A 3-headed monster named Hell's Gatekeeper Cerberus then came to confront Jinwook. The monster began to attack, and for the first time, Jinwoo used the Wolf Slayer skill or Wolf Claw obtained from his title as a Wolf Slayer. but his attacks weren't enough to take down the monsters he was facing now. This time his attacks combined with his sprint skills make his attacks now even faster. Lastly, he added the bloodlust skill, but all the combinations were not able to overthrow the monster either. An alarm from the system appeared saying that the monster will attack with deadly skill. Jin Wook was attacked and he quickly jumped on his head, but Jin Wook's attack was again nothing. Jin Wook was almost killed by him, his stamina was getting lower, and he was cornered, but again his mentality of wanting to continue to be strong kept on burning, making him never give up. The recovery skill was activated, and just in time Jin Wook held the fangs of the monster that was about to eat him. Then Jin Wook turned his head and repeatedly attacked him, and the monster was finally defeated. A message from the system appeared, his level increased greatly and several items were also obtained from the monsters he defeated. The first item he gets is a necklace called a Warden's Necklace, which can increase agility and sense or detect. The second item that Jin Wook got was a key to open the door of the Devil's Palace. And the third one he got canines. A gate is now in front of Jin Wook. He now finds out that this is a demon palace and the monsters he defeated are only guarded. He hesitates to enter it and chooses to leave it first. At a sword practice site, Mr. Sun is shown again practicing with his student who is a rank S hunter. Even though his rank is lower and with a body that has lost his left hand, Mr. Sun's sword fighting skills are very good. Finished practicing, Mr. Sun received a call and accepted the invitation to raid this time. He will enter the dungeon rank D. Arriving at the location, Mr. Sun meets Jin Wook. He was surprised to see Jin Wook's physique that had changed. Mr. Sun was also surprised to see that Jin Wook's legs were okay because he knew that Jin Wook had lost one of his legs in the double dungeon event. It turns out that all of that is thanks to the effects of the system that Jin Wook has. It wasn't just Mr. Sun, it turned out that the raid this time consisted of survivors of the double dungeon event. Juhi was seen there. Just like Mr. Sun, Juhi also feels foreign to the changes in Jin Wook's body. There is also Mr. Kim and one other hunter. Mr. Kim and the other hunter's expressions were different. When they saw Jin Wook, they felt ashamed and guilty because they had once left Jin Wook alone in the dungeon. It turned out that they weren't the only ones in the raid this time, several other people were participating. From a car, 3 detainees who were hunters and 1 B-rank hunter named Gang T-Shik came out. It's not uncommon for convicts who are hunters to join raid, because it can reduce the time of imprisonment. Jin Wook again felt something strange about the raid formation this time. T-Shik had talked to Mr. Sun that this convict was his responsibility. He also asked him to be the leader of this raid. In the end, everyone didn't mind Mr. Sun being chairman. Before entering the dungeon, Mr. Sun thanked Jin Wook first. Thanks to him, there are still hunters who survived the double dungeon event. Now they all entered the dungeon. A group of lowly goblin monsters attacked, and the prisoners showed their fighting skills. Mr. Sun, who is a magic type hunter, casts his fire magic and all the goblins are defeated easily. They were then faced with 3 passages. T-Shik said, because this dungeon contains low monsters, how about we just split up? And if we meet the boss, we will come back here and tell you immediately. T-Shik will take the road to the right with the convicts. Jin Wook then sees a big aura in the left aisle. With Mr. Sun and Juhi, they take the left lane. And Mr. Kim and one other hunter went to the middle path. The look in T-Shik's eyes changed, and Jin Wook grew more suspicious of him. The prisoners fight the goblin easily, but it turns out that T-Shik has other plans for the prisoner. Mr. Kim, who had defeated all the monsters, and between the battles they had time to talk that they wanted to apologize to Jin Wook because they had left him in the double dungeon incident. They then continued their journey, and unexpectedly they met T-Shik in a place and saw that the convicts had all been killed by T-Shik. Jin Wook then felt a high killer aura and invited his team to come back soon. They had just arrived when they were surprised by a sudden attack from T-Shik. Luckily, Jin Wook managed to fend it off. T-Shik is surprised because this is the first time someone has been able to stop his speed. From a distance, he said, "I will kill all of you." It turns out that all of this was pre-planned by T-Shik. Before entering the dungeon, he received an assignment from someone to kill prisoners. The person who ordered him was a father whose child was a victim of cruelty by the prisoners. T-Shik doesn't care about it all. The most important thing is the high pay for the mission he has to do. T-Shik also said that at first there was no intention to kill you, but unexpectedly Hunter Kim saw the execution. So like it or not, T-Shik had to kill them to cover up his crimes. There, Jin Wook was surprised to see Mr. Kim was dying. Juhi tried to help him, but unfortunately, a lot of blood had come out, making his magic not work. Jin Wook continues to encourage Mr. Kim to live on. On the edge of his death, Mr. Kim told Jin Wook, "I want to apologize by lowering my head, but that's impossible now. I just want you to forgive me." After that, Mr. Kim didn't breathe anymore. From afar, T-Shik said, "I will make up a good story for their death." Arrogantly, he also said, "I was an assassin-type hunter, so you couldn't match my speed." The enraged Mr. Sun started to fight back. Juhi from behind helped him with protection magic. Mr. Sun said that even though I am a magic-type hunter, I am a swordsman. In the twinkling of an eye, Thesik attacked and was caught by Mr. Sun. Although the movement is good, the speed difference is far to overwhelm Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun was easily injured, but Juhi's backup was able to save him. Thesik was furious and intended to target Juhi first, but again Mr. Sun put up a fight. Thesik got serious and launched a barrage of attacks on Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun, who is cornered, can still fight back with his magic. Thesik was slightly injured, he ran out of patience and was ready to stab Mr. Sun, but Jinwook quickly came and fended him off with his dagger. Thesik was again amazed by Jinwook's movements and instincts. Not only Thesik, but Mr. Sun and Juhi were also surprised to see Jinwook's ability now. Thesik then said that was not the move of an E-rank hunter. Who are you? You must be hiding your skills. I believe you have received multiple awakenings, but that doesn't change anything since my combat experience is no match for yours. Thesik started to get serious. He took out his 2 knife blades and his movements were fast and almost imperceptible. But Jinwook was again able to fend it off. Jinwook tries to attack, but his movements are not as fast as Thesik's. They attack each other quickly. Mr. Sun and Ju could only be silent and could not see anything. Thesik continues to provoke Jinwook. He says he wants to move quickly, but there's nothing wrong with this. Juhi from behind helps Jinwook. His speed and power are now increasing. The battle now looks even. Thesik feels Juhi is again interfering and is about to attack him. But Mr. Sun came to visit him. Jinwoo was caught off guard until finally several cuts hit Jinwook. Thesik's desire to kill is getting higher until an alarm from the system appears containing a mission to kill someone who endangers the player. Jinwook then said that this was just the beginning. Jinwoo said that now there is no reason not to kill you. Super fast fights happen. You could say this is a fight between fellow hunter-type assassins, namely hunters who specialize in agility, speed, and knife play. The sprint skill was activated, and Jinwoo's movement got faster. This time Thesik couldn't avoid it. As a result, Thesik was scratched. The paralysis skill was activated. Bleed skill was also activated. There he was silent and said the effect of your knife is interesting too. But you have to look at my skill too. From T6's body the effects of poison have been successfully neutralized, right? His body slowly disappeared, his whereabouts now invisible. Jinwoo panicked. Looking for his whereabouts, Jinwoo was lucky to be able to fend off. With an invisible body, T6 says this is my greatest skill. No one has ever survived this one ability. Jinwoo's leg was slashed making him unable to move. T6 came and prepared to give his final attack. But quickly Jinwoo's recovery skill was activated. In an instant, the wound disappeared. T6 is again amazed by his abilities. Jinwoo got up now, his instincts are getting sharper. Skills were used again, where unexpectedly Jinwoo managed to fend off all directions of T6's attack. Jinwoo couldn't see it but could feel T6's killing instinct, which made him know where his attack was headed. T6 attacked right in front, Jinwoo opened his eyes and the bloodless skill was activated. Instantly T6's body fell silent. He is now in his subconscious. T6 sees endless darkness. In this situation, Jinwoo easily managed to stab him. At the end of his death, T6 said, "Who are you? A ranky type assassin who has healer abilities and bad effects? I've never heard of that. Your shadow connects with darkness." His big mouth keeps on babbling. Paralysis skill is activated. Bleed skill is also activated. T6 is then defeated. A message from the system appears. Mission completion rewards will be given. An item is then obtained by Jinwook. The item is a stone that contains the power of a defeated opponent. By destroying the stone, the skill embedded in this stone will be accepted by the player. After the fight was over, Mr. Sun and Juhi approached Jinwook and thanked him for helping him. Mr. Sun says, "What will you do now?" Jinwoo just said, "I will defeat the boss first and close this dungeon forever." Mr. Sun always says again, "Okay, I'll wait outside and we'll report this to the Union together." Jinwoo moved and unexpectedly there was one prisoner who was still alive and pretended to be dead. Jinwoo then took him with him to the boss's room. Jinwoo then said, "Make up for all your bad behavior here. I will not bring a cruel person like you out." The goblins attacked him to death, after which Jinwoo easily defeated the boss. The dungeon is now closed forever and news of T6's death spreads. The vice guild leader came to the location and asked what had happened in the dungeon. They couldn't believe that someone like T6, who was known to be brutal, could be defeated. Jin Chil meets Jinwoo again and almost doesn't recognize him because his physical changes are quite far. Jinwoo saw the aura of strength. Deep down this person is strong. Maybe rank of the current me will not be able to pass it. Jin Chil there said that the Union has taken care of the person who ordered T6 to be arrested immediately. "I'm sorry, our member T6 tried to hurt you. It's beyond our control. I also now want to know who killed T6 in this dungeon." In his heart, Jinwoo thought maybe his fighting journey should end here and spend his days behind bars. But Mr. Sun firmly said that I was the one who had killed T6. "I am a hunter rank C, but I am assisted by a hunter healer rank B." Jin Chil then said, "Okay Mr. Sun, now come with me along with the others to fill out the investigator's report." Jinwoo then had time to talk to Mr. Sun. "Why did you lie and protect me? Mr. Sun replies, I think you have a reason why you are hiding your ability. Keep fighting, at least this is what I can do as a thank you because you have saved my life twice. Before the investigators left, Jin Chil said to Jin Woo, I won't suspect anything from you, but you have to be careful now because maybe your life and Jin Ho are in danger. Because a rank S hunter named Dong Su might take revenge on you, knowing that his older brother had been killed. They all finished their investigation before they separated. Ju H still kept the memento that Jin Woo had given him. There Ju-hee returned it, and a little nostalgic. Ju-hee then said, I was a timid person to become a hunter. From now on I decided to retire from the world of hunter and will return to my hometown. Ju-hee thanked Jin Woo very much for helping me. Jin Woo accepted Ju-hee's decision, then said goodbye and left Jin Wook. Jin Woo and Jin Ho's plan to create a guild has started, and the two of them are now recruiting the newest 8 hunters. Unexpectedly, they were all hunters who were in trouble. Some were injured and drunk, school children and others. This made Jin Woo feel astonished. Jin Ho then told them, now you just need to wait outside until the two of us return from the dungeon. You are only a complement to the 10 hunter requirements from the guild regulations. According to the contract, each of you will get 3 millionaires for each raid. And don't tell anyone what you saw and heard during the raid. They were all confused as to whether they were that strong for daring to enter a crank dungeon alone. The two of them entered the dungeon, the remaining hunters waited outside, and in no time they made it out of the dungeon. The hunters waiting outside were shocked to see that the dungeon would be closed forever, a sign the boss has been defeated. They can't believe seeing all this. Jin Ho excitedly said, let's head to the next 2 dungeons. It turned out that all the C-rank dungeons had been purchased by Jin Ho from the guild at a great price, so other guilds or anyone has no right to enter it. Jin Ho's behavior suddenly made people in the guild department commotion, one of whom was a hunter investigator from the What Tiger Guild. He says, what the hell is all this? Find out about them both. After learning about Jin Woo, the investigator said something was wrong with him. What kind of strength? He thought this could become a business area. He must be hiding great abilities. He said to his assistant, we have to meet Jin Woo. We have to look for Ririnya first. Jin Woo made his second raid. In the dungeon this time he has skills thanks to the victory against T-Sick. The monsters were easily defeated. His level continues to rise. He also gets a new skill called Vital Strike. This skill is an active skill that can target and deliver a fatal attack on the enemy's vital area. The second new skill is Advanced Dagger Arts, which will increase the ability of the knife and increase the attack on the knife. The more Jin Woo fought, the more his level continued to rise and get stronger. The monsters are even now afraid of Jin Woo just looking at it. A message from the system appeared containing an offer to carry out a mysterious mission. Jin Woo wondered what kind of mission this was because it was unusual to get a mission like this. His level was now 39 with several strengths that continued to increase. The 2 investigators from the War Tiger Guild that arrived at the raid site Jin Woo, they were both surprised to see his client lounging outside. This is more accurately called a playground. A young hunter girl then said, you are not allowed to enter here. We are hunters who are waiting for our leader to come out of the dungeon. And soon Jin Woo and Jin Ho came out of the dungeon. And again the dungeon was closed forever. The investigator was shocked by what he saw. His instincts were not wrong for Jin Woo. Immediately the investigator approached Jin Woo and made acquaintances. Then the two of them went to a cafe. Without further ado the investigator said, would you like to join the White Tiger Guild? We'll pay double what Jin Ho gave us. Jin Woo then said, can you afford 600 billion because Jin Ho paid me 300 billion. The investigator was shocked by this fact and said it was beyond our capabilities. Jin Woo then left, but there he suspected why he suddenly asked him to join. He activated his skills and scratched his face with an invisible body. Jin Woo then asked, if you had investigated me, what do you know? The investigator replied, I realized you have great strength because it is impossible by chance that you survived 3 great events and you cleared a C-rank dungeon quickly. It's not an ordinary power, you must be hiding your power. Jin Woo then said, who knows more about me? The investigator answered, only me and my assistant. Jin Woo then said again, I don't want others to know about my abilities, you have to keep all this a secret. It turned out that the speed at which Jin Woo cleared the dungeon caused an uproar among the other guilds. The investigator cannot raid his members. Jin Woo then apologized for making a fuss. He then intended to sell the 3 C-rank gates that we have at a high price, and the investigator was forced to agree. Jin Wook left, but before that, he gave him an item to heal the wound on his cheek. It didn't take long for Jin Woo to give the investigator a message, even though he was annoyed that he had to spend money to buy the dungeon. But it's worth it to be able to get Jin Woo's phone number. Jin Woo remembered the mysterious mission he received. He then went alone into a mountain. A different gate appeared, and without hesitation, he entered it. After going through the gate now he is in a large room like a palace. Jin Woo is faced with soldiers clad in iron. A system message appears that you cannot leave the dungeon before defeating all monsters. In this medicine area, the store of the system will be locked. There is no recovery after leveling up. Jin Woo thinks he should be able to manage his energy so it doesn't run out. Jin Woo then fought the soldier easily. He wondered why he could be defeated so easily. There are no special abilities from this warrior, only having hard armor and slow movements. An item obtained by Jin Woo in the form of armor that can increase defensive abilities. He also got a bag containing 30,000 gold after defeating this warrior. From a distance, the soldiers continued to arrive in large numbers. Without hesitation, Jin Woo began to attack. But he was surprised by an invisible attack. He was surprised that there were also assassin-type monsters who had the ability still. He said, "This is very troublesome. From above now has come to a witch with the power of fire." Jin Woo was increasingly panicked. From different directions, archers were also seen who were ready to attack Jin Woo. From afar, Jin Woo felt that this place was very dangerous, but he had no choice but to defeat them all. For a moment, Jin Woo thought he should use different skills for each monster to be more efficient in each of his attacks. Strike vitality skills for magicians, strength for knights, sense for assassins, and agility for archers. Jin Woo was overwhelmed because he had to be smart and quick to use his skills in this fight. And regret fell on Jin Wook because he didn't add the points given by the system for intelligence too often. Jin Woo started his attack. He succeeded in overthrowing several monsters. The longer he fights, the more he runs out of energy, and the monsters he has to face are never quick enough to be defeated. Even when Jin Woo was about to sleep to recover his energy, they didn't give him a chance. With 66 remaining energy, Jin Woo managed to defeat all the monsters that attacked simultaneously. The system then gave him minerals to overcome his fatigue, and several items were obtained. Jin Woo in the fight this time also got abundant gold with recovered stamina. He kept walking and arrived at a gate where he felt the cold that made his soul goosebumps. He opened it. He realized he was now in the king's room. A warrior in red armor came welcoming. "It is the guardian of this room." Looking at the soldiers in front of him, Jin Woo remembered the frightening sensation of being in the double dungeon. The knight was named the Igris Blood Red Commander, a monster knight protecting the king's empty seat. Jin Woo looked at him and felt a high power aura on this knight. Now you are faced with an enemy knight in red who has a terrible power aura. The knight came to attack, and Jin Woo managed to dodge. One slash of his sword could destroy a solid pillar. Jin Woo attacked with dagger but was unable to penetrate his armor. The knight came back against a big explosion that occurred. Lucky Jin Woo managed to avoid it. But the knight's movement was fast. Jin Woo began to be overwhelmed and said that this knight has speed, strength, and strong defense. Jin Woo thought that if dagger couldn't hurt him, the only way would be to fight against each other. From far away, the knight also kept his sword away, and now the two of them are fighting fairly knight style. The knight came to attack. Because the attack was fast, Jin Woo didn't have time to dodge. As a result, he was thrown hard, and Jin Woo was repeatedly attacked. A huge explosion occurs. He is in pain and says he is strong even without a sword. Jin Woo tried to attack with his speed. The sprint skill was activated, but the hit meant nothing. The knight can also keep up with Jin Woo's speed. Jin Woo began to be pushed back but was still able to fight back. Jin Woo's leg was grabbed and Jin Wook was hit so hard that his body was thrown far and fell on the king's chair. His little heart said, "Could this be the end of my life?" The knight is now near him, and with his skill, he takes the stuck sword. Now in the hand, with Jin Woo's neck in front of him. But quickly Jin Woo resisted with the skill given to his hand. That skill can reduce the physical attack received by the hand. He quickly took out a dagger and stabbed it next to his eye. As soon as Jin Woo pushed him away, the knight managed to remove the dagger from his eye. But with skill, Jin Woo can remove the dagger and return it to his hand. Jin Woo then stabbed the knight's neck with a combination of vital strike skills. And with all his strength, he continued to push the knight deep inside. After that, the knight was unable to fight anymore, and a message from the system appeared. The knight was defeated, and his level continued to rise. After the fight, Jin Woo trembled. He said, "I almost died here. Only my luck could beat him. Because technically I lost far from him." Several items are also obtained after defeating this knight. First, he got an item called a Red Knight Helmet. This item can reduce the attack that the head receives and can also increase stamina and strength. Second, he gets a Run Stone with the Dominator Touch skill, where it can control items without touching them. The 3 Jin Woo get abundant gold, and another one gets a Heartstone that can be used to leave the dungeon he is currently walking. Jin Woo wonders why he got Heartstone. He thinks that this knight is not the boss of this dungeon. There must be someone stronger in a difficult situation. Before he had time to rest, Jin Woo was shocked by a mysterious gate in front of him. A message from the system appears stating that the job change mission will begin. The longer you survive, the more points you get and put you in a higher job. Time was immediately executed by the system. A monster figure came out from inside the gate. Was a soldier. Not only one turned out continuously, but the soldiers also came out from inside the gate because this was just a survival mission. Jin Woo thought he shouldn't go through it. Skills activated, he intended to hide, but unexpectedly there was also a magician who could use detection skills. Jin Woo's whereabouts were known. The soldiers then attacked, and Jin Woo gave a hard blow. Skill glass activated. The effect is working. He has 1 minute before the effect wears off. Jinwoo thought this was a good opportunity to defeat many monsters. Even though many monsters have been defeated, the soldiers who came out of the gate came faster than the number of soldiers Jinwoo defeated. Here Jinwook was overwhelmed in his panic. He said, "I had underestimated the mission this time. This was too dangerous." He was also surprised because he only got 5 minutes. Jinwoo is now in a difficult situation. He then decides to use a hearthstone to get out of the dungeon. But the soldiers there did not give him a chance. The hearthstone slipped from Jinwoo's grasp. Now he was lying in front of the army of soldiers. It wouldn't be Jinwoo's name if it had to end like this. Immediately he got up, then jumped and felled several soldiers. But there are still many warriors to defeat. His mental state began to decline for a moment. He remembered his previous battle journey, how the title of the weakest delivery was always pinned on him. He always felt that he was being belittled. In the darkness of his heart, suddenly the weak figure of Jinwoo appeared before him. The figure said, "Why did you who used to continue to force fight even though you were always on the verge of death?" Jinwoo was surprised to see that he could talk to himself. The figure said again, "Your appearance does change and get stronger, but here you are still a loser, and in the end, you will feel on the verge of death again." The soldiers continued to brutally beat Jinwoo. The reduced energy and the increasing number of monsters made Jinwoo able to be defeated. Jinwoo there could only lie down with half his consciousness. A soldier ready to give the final blow to him, Jinwoo fell again while in the double dungeon. Jinwoo is now unable to do anything and is on the verge of death. An alarm from the system appears containing a penalty for not completing the daily mission. Time countdown. Jinwoo's weak figure was annoyed and said, "You're lucky this time." 1 second before the warrior delivers his final strike, the punishment mission begins. Jinwoo managed to survive his death when he realized that he was now in the middle of the desert. Suddenly he was surprised to know the situation this time. He just remembered that today he had not completed his daily mission. In silence, Jinwoo was grateful and again felt like a lucky person. Well, let's end the 4th part here. The punishment mission earlier saved Jinwoo from death. With him currently serving time, he could use the system to restore his health. Now, how is Jinwoo's next journey? Wait for the next part. Thank you and sayonara.